Hey, it's Lowry Smith of the Commander Smiths here with searching for the spotlight, Mr. Foxglove. Commander Smiths normally record their podcast live on YouTube here right now. Adam's out of town, so I'm going to be building a deck. Commander Smiths is a podcast. We do a lot of different stuff, a lot of different videos on here, like curated MTG. Sometimes Adam does proxy videos. We do deck techs, we do deck building, we do pre-con upgrades. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check it out. We will be recording this week's podcast on Friday and Friday night, normal time, 9 Central. And so we won't be missing a beat. Otherwise, anybody that's watching, thanks for giving it a watch and hopefully you give it a like. Hopefully you enjoy. Today we're going to be building Mr. Foxglove and pretty neat indeed. I have about 105 cards here. I'll go through and then I'll cut it down and try and get it close to 65 as I can. Uh don't plan on going over an hour and a half at this point. I'm tired. But Mr. Foxglove is pretty cool. Two colorless, green, white, blue, 3/5 lifelink, Fox Rogue. Whenever Mr. Foxglove attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in defending player's hand minus the number of cards in your hand. So that basically means draw up to however many cards the defending player has. And if you don't draw any cards, like if they don't have anything more than you get to put a creature card from your hand directly into play, which is also pretty cool. Um, and so we'll talk about basically the idea is really cheap spells. So it's going to look like a very high powered deck, and it might be, probably is. Free spells, so that's like discarding spells, and then spell slingers. And we'll get to that as well. So that's kind of the more casual aspect of it, but should still be fun. So discarding cards, playing cards really cheap, and then being able to attack with Mr. Foxglove to be able to draw a bunch of cards again. So just kind of like a value engine, along with potentially putting free big creatures that work with everything into play. So like I said, Mr. Foxglove, drawing cards, putting creatures into play. It's more of the drawing cards aspect, but there are creatures to cheat in. Um, we are going to be going with in our packages. So it's going to be ramp package here first. Mox Opal has a chance, so free ramp, right? It looks bonkers and it might end up being like a lot of high powered stuff here. But taps for mana if you have 3 or more artifacts. This counts for one of them for some reason, but it's gonna be nice. Jeweled Lotus to get Foxglove out really quick. We'll see if that stays in. Jeweled Lotus is something that I generally try and stay away from, but 5 is right on that borderline of like it's cheap enough that it's fine, but I like Jeweled Lotus when it's more expensive, Commander. So let's keep that a little bit more visible. All right. Mox Diamond. This is going to be the first time I've played this card, and likely it's going to go in there. So you discard a land card, and then it taps for the mana of any color that you're of your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. Um, I'd like Adam to get a proxy of this too, and then I don't have to worry about water spilling on it. Chrome Mox. I don't play this very often either, but it feels great in here. I'm sure. Discard a non-land, non-artifact card, and you get that color mana rock. Paradise Mantle, 0 mana, equip it, and then the creature can tap for any color. Soul Ring. Yep. Okay, okay. Yeah. I'm more than willing to hear you out. Birds of Paradise, duh. It was almost a stacks deck. Um So the other way that I almost wanted to go was like Howling Mine effects. So everybody's drawing a bunch of cards. So that means like your card advantage isn't getting you ahead, it's putting everybody ahead. And then it was gonna have people not play a ton of spells, but you are allowed to play spells. And that's how you're gonna draw cards and stuff like that. I think that is a way that Mr. Foxglove could go, but I wanted to be able to have the spell shapers in there. So Noble Hierarch, another great mana dork. Exploration, getting a bunch of lands from your hand into play, so reducing the amount of cards that are going to be in your hand. I also have Burgeoning in there, same effect. Currency Converter, we'll see how many cards I'm actually discarding. That's kind of the big thing. So, but whenever you discard basically a land card, put it under there, and then you can tap, put that land into your graveyard and get a treasure token. So it's kind of still ramp on your discard. It's pretty nice. Llanowar Mentor. So this is the spell shaper aspect that I was talking about. It is you're always going to be discarding a card, and then you get some type of effect, which this is getting a Llanowar Elves token for you. And then you have Fanatic of Ronus, which taps for green or taps for 4 green if you have creature with power 4 or more. But the big thing is the Eternalize. If I want to discard it, I still can just bring it back with the Eternalize. And so it's a 4/4 that can tap for 4 mana when it comes back. Silver Glade Pathfinder, Spell Shaper. Discard that card. You get to go search for a basic land card, put into play tapped. Dreamscape Artist, another spell shaper, discarding that card for the effect, sacrificing a land and go get 2 basic lands and put them into the battlefield, which are untapped at that point. So nice little ditty there. Cultivate, we know what that does. Kodoma's Reach, same thing. We know what that does. All right. Renshai saying, take out the white, add black, make it Grixis. Okay. Okay. So you're taking out the green as well? Play Demonic Consultation and Thassa's Oracle. Okay. I mean, why even have red in there? It's not just adding, it's take out everything but blue. Jeez. That's aggressive. Probably not gonna do that though. Thanks for the suggestion, Renshai. That's a great idea. That's Azusa playing 2 lands per extra per turn, so it's a nice little piece. Dryad of the Elysian Grove playing 1 extra land per turn. And so that's just allowing you to get cards out of your hand for the next turn to draw more cards potentially. Conduit of Worlds, being able to play lands from graveyards is always nice, as well as being able to potentially cast a permanent spell from the graveyard. Again, this will depend on how many discard outlets there are, because the other aspect is not so much discard, but exiling cards from hand, and so that's a little rougher. Kaidel, Chosen of Krufix. It can tap for a colorless for each card you've drawn this turn, which feels like a decent amount of mana for a 4 mana creature. Not bad. Bear Umbra. This allows you to kind of like double play. You're going to be able to cast the spells from your hand if you have anything left, and then after you attack, you have mana open. Again, we'll see where this is at. I might just be able to get rid of my hand before the next turn, protecting, removing, stuff like that. But Barum is dope in that regard. Perennial Behemoth. There's Crucible Worlds that you can unearth. Um, so again, that discard aspect is really nice, being able to not worry about that. Feast and Famine, just untapping the lands again, like Bear Umbra. All right, that is the land package, and we have. I should have been cutting. Ugh. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. I need to cut about at least 6 there. Let's think a little bit on that. Let's go through. Just because I think I can get rid of my hand in a turn, I think I can get rid of Bear Umbra. And I'm probably happy cutting Kaidel. Conduit Worlds, we want to keep. I'm gonna keep Dryad because it has an ass. That's the nice thing, being able to block there. But I think I will cut Azusa as well and keep Burgeoning and Exploration. They're cheaper, still playing more lands. Let's keep Cultivate because that does add stuff to your hand potentially. I don't know. But I like the Spell Shapers, Fanatic, Currency Converter. We'll keep that around for now. Just and we got some dorks and some rocks. I'm good with that, but that's cut it. That brings us down to 20 cards in our ramp package. So we'll have to figure out from there. Um, but happy with those cuts at the beginning. Um, 2 draw and ramp packages, Augur of Autumn along with Euro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. I like them both a lot in this deck because this is allowing me to still cast spells if I have mana over, um, or but it doesn't add to my hand, which is the nice thing. Uh, Euro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, it's okay, I think, but the nice thing is the escape and just being able to bring it back with a lot of card advantage attached to that. So right there, pretty happy with it. Esper Sentinel, there just for that cheap cantrip aspect of it. I don't want to go heavy into the card advantage stuff and just really rely on Foxglove, but Esper Sentinel was something that I wanted to keep in there. Cause again, that is a little bit of a worry that like people just kill Foxglove off and then you're just dead in water. You know what I mean? So Esper Sentinel, Sensei's top for sure. Let's keep those there. Wizard class, no maximum hand size, and then level 2 is drawing 2 cards, and then the big one for 5, whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Oh, whenever you draw a card. Does that okay, so if I drop, like, 4 off of that attack, I should be able to put 4 1/1 counters on them. That's the whole point, and I believe that's what would happen. Um, and so that is why I like it. It makes Foxglove a little bit more of a threat. Waker of Waves, 7/7 for 7. Creatures your opponents control get -1, -0, and then you can pay 2, discard a card, look at the top 2 cards, put one of them in a hand, other in the graveyard. And so this is one of those that can cheat into play, can work as some type of card, cantripping. And that's kind of the deal there. Deep analysis, something to discard and still be able to draw cards if I so wish. A radical idea, same thing there. It's an it's an expensive cantrip, but also that discard part, the jump start, casting it from the graveyard is probably more of where it'll happen. Keeper of the Mind, 2 blue for a 1/2 wizard. Blue and tap it, draw a card. Play this ability only if target opponent has at least 2 more cards in hand than you. So that should be nice. That's a nice cheap little way of doing it. Chivalric Alliance. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, discard or draw a card. And then so you can stack that where you draw up to the hand size and then draw a card off of that. And then it can also be a discard outlet for some tokens. So you can sculpt your hand however big you want it, get rid of stuff that you don't want. Urza's Bauble and Mishra's Bauble are just cheap artifact cantrips that come out of your hand for free, and that's a big deal. Jace Reawakened. This one's draw discard or a plot, so it's still allowing you to cast stuff out of your hand, but it gets it out of hand. So plotting is pretty cool, I think it here. And then Foretell is also something that can work quite a bit. If you want to work with both of those, either of them, I think I ended up cutting a lot of those cards though before Sylvan Library, just being able to figure out what you're going to get. Windfall, just a way to catch up if people are picking on Mr. Foxglove. Same thing with Echo of Eons. This is an easy one that you can discard it in this deck. And then it's a 3 mana drawback up to 7 for everybody. Tales of the Ancestors. This is a foretell card, so it gets it out of your hand and you can cast it whenever you kind of want in the future. But each player with fewer cards in hand than the player with the most cards in hand draws cards equal to the difference. So it's like a different version of Windfall, essentially. No discarding, but people are drawing up to the highest amount. Commit to Memory, and this is really here just for the memory, the aftermath. The 6 mana, each player shuffles his or her hand into the graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. So it's just a nice thing to get from the graveyard. And looking at that, we have 1, 2, 3. I think I'm probably happy just with those 3. Windfalls, I probably wanna stick with Windfall. Shuffling into hand, and that's a shuffle into hand, right? I kinda like the discard aspect of Windfall. I'll cut Memory. I don't think I have to cut too much from my draw package, though. Dream Euro should probably go into the draw package because draw, and it doesn't always put a land into play. Dream Trawler, flying, lifelink, 3/5. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +1/+0. So big draws, big pluses with Foxglove. And then whenever it attacks, you get to draw a card. And then so you can stack that right. And then you can discard a card to give it hexproof, which is also something that I want to have happen in the deck. So I think that's perfect in the deck. I also thought it was perfect in Rafine, but that got a little expensive in there, but I like it here. Kozilek, the Great Distortion. When you cast a spell, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference, so up to 7, and it's a 12/12 menace, and then discard cards with mana value X to counter spells with mana value X. Another great way to kind of catch up if you get up to that range. Also, something you can just kind of cheat in. You don't have to draw those cards if Foxglove is going off. Uh, love seeing a deck from Dream Trump. Yes, yes, it's gonna be sweet in there. Nazahal, Primal Tide, 7 mana, 7/7. Can't be countered, no maximum hand size. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card. So if this is in play, you're not really caring about Foxglove drawing you cards. You want to start kind of cheating stuff into play at that point. And you hope that you can cheat this into play too. And then you can discard 3 cards, exile it, and then return it to the battlefield tapped, which again is perfect to just get rid of cards that you don't need and then draw cards with Foxglove. So um, I really like that aspect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's see if we can cut anything. I like the big bad boys in here. I like Euro. We'll take these. Normally, also, I do me personal take. I don't like shuffling my graveyard into my library often because most of the time I do have some type of interaction in the graveyard. Like, and this deck just doesn't have a lot. I have like the green conduit. That's really it. Like, I like the discarding aspect, but I'm not playing in the graveyard too much in here. Um, I think Sylvan Library still sticks around at this point. Just being cheap allows me to choose when I'm choosing. Jace Reawakened. Yeah, these are perfect. There isn't a lot of graveyard interaction in those colors. Yeah, I mean, one aspect that I was thinking Renshai was like having more bigger creatures, and then I can discard them and somehow reanimate them. I do have one reanimation card in here that I'll get to at the end, but that was a way to like potentially work with a bunch of big creatures in hand. I kind of went away with that, like more cycling, like land cycling cards, and that just stuff that worked both regards. But again, it went away from the spell shapers, and I wanted to keep them in. Radical Idea and Deep Analysis are both okay. I like Waker of Waves, Wizard class, Top, and Sentinel. I think I like Deep Analysis, but let's cut Radical Idea just because it's not really good. Like 4 mana for 2 is not amazing, but it's like acceptable. To whereas like the 2 mana for 2 cards is great and 3 life. But this is always just kind of really meh, and I don't have any cost reductions in here to potentially make it better. So let's cut that down to 18. So right there we have 20 ramp, 18. And we'll have to get that down a little bit. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, I didn't even notice. There we go. Let's fucking get stuff straight for everybody with OCD here. All right, the next package is going to be a bunch of removal. Let's go like that. All right, let's be a dickhead. We got Void Winnower here. This is part of that, package I was talking about where kinda Staxy, keeping making it so people can't cast spells and it's gonna leave in their hand. I thought Void of Winterwear still works because it's a nice thing to cheat out with Foxglove, it just changes the game. Um, so that's what I'm hoping for there. I still really like that. And Aura of Silence is still around for that aspect because it can be a removal spell as well. So, but artifact and enchantment spells of opponents cost 2 more to cast, and then you can sack it to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Green slime, 2/2 flash, but it's a foretell. So you pay 2, get it out of your hand. You can pay a green later in the game, and then it enters the battlefield. Counter target activated or triggered ability from an artifact or enchantment source. If the permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. So nice little way to keep stuff out of my hand, but still be able to play it in the future. Abolish. You may discard a planes from your hand instead of paying Abolish's mana cost. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So that's that force of will aspect that I wanted to talk about, like discarding or exiling cards from hand for playing stuff for free. Um, and Foxglove just catches you back up. Force of Vigor, same thing. What is this? Exile a green card from hand, destroy up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. Perfect in here. Spell Shaper, 3 mana, 2/2, pay 2, discard all that stuff. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, and so it's just a little bit of removal there. This is a fun one. This is the reanimation aspect. They're basically cousins. But 1 mana, 1/1 nomad. Tap it, return 2 target cards in an opponent's graveyard to his or her hand, destroy target attacking creature. So I thought that was an interesting way to get cards into opponents' hands. It's not drawing, um, and it's removal. So I was thinking that could be an interesting way to do that. We have Solitude, very beautiful version that Renshai pointed out to me that was just kind of a reprinted. They had gone up since he bought his, but it is what it is. It's a gorgeous card. But exile a white card. It has flash, and it's Swords of Plowshare for free, basically. Spell Shaper. So discarding the card, remove target attacking creature from the game. Its controller gains life equal to its toughness. I wish it had a little bit more of an ass. A 1/1 is tough. Yeah, you're. I didn't say thank you. All right, but sorry. I thank you. Maybe I did say thank you. I don't know. I'm just being a dickhead. But Avenger and Doll, thought that was a pretty cool card. I don't know if this is gonna make it though. That 3 mana cost, I don't have any reducers left in here. There is like Training Grounds and Biomancer's Familiar that could go back in, depending on how many spell shapers need a reduction. That could be helpful. But right now, let's keep it in, but we'll see where it is. Fierce Guardianship, free counter spell when the commander's in play. Saw it coming. Foretell counter spell. So pay 2 to exile it, pay 2 to counter target spell. Um, Not a bad deal there. Stronghold Mechanist, Spell Shaper. So discarding a card from hand, counter target non-creature spell for 2 blue. And then you have, I gotta split them up. Stronghold Biologist, 2 blue, discard a card, counter target creature spell. So non-creature, creature spell, kind of fun ways to doing that. I feel like normally we don't play a lot of counter spells, but this deck is going to have a lot of counter spells. Diplomatic Escort, a spell shaper. So a blue, discard a card. Counter target spell or ability that targets a creature. So nice little bit there. Uh, Commandeer, exile 2 blue cards from hand rather than paying its spell. Gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. I think this is a sweet card. It was an opportunity to play it, but I think the 2 specifically blue cards from hand kind of wreck it. I think that's probably a little too big of an ask in a 3-color deck. So I'm gonna but okay, talk me out of it. The spell shapers allow me to if it's a dead card in hand, I can just discard it, right? Um, yeah, I think we'll get rid of it. Force a negation. If it's Your turn, you may exile, or no, if it's not your turn, exile a blue card, counter target non-creature spell. So, force of will, yeah. Pay 1 life, exile a blue card, counter target spell. Misdirection, exile a blue card, change the target of target spell with a single target. Subtlety, exile a blue card, exile, was it? Choose up to one target creature spell or planeswalker spell. That owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. Cyclonic Rift. So this is getting into the bounce aspect of it that I really this is the part that really intrigues me, and I think that'll be really nice too. It's that part of getting cards into people's hands, but not having them draw and see other things. So Cyclonic Rift returns everything. You can do that at the end of my opponent's turn, and then I can just attack anybody and draw a shit ton of cards. And I think that's going to be really awesome. But there's also Spectral Deluge, which has the foretell 2 and 3. But return each creature your opponent controls with toughness X or less, where X is the number of islands you control. So that is cool. Alexi Zephyr Mage, 5 mana, 3/3. Pay X and a blue, tap it, discard 2 cards from your hand, return X target creatures to their owner's hands. Again, that aspect of returning a bunch of stuff to an opponent's hand and then just drawing a ton of cards off of it. Turbulent Dreams. And actually, that's kind of this aspect is nice because I'm spending a lot of mana. And if I can untap with Bear Umbra to be able to do more, we'll see. We'll see where it ends up going. But Alexi's pretty cool. Turbulent Dreams, 2 blue sorcery. As an additional cost for Turbulent Dreams, discard X cards from your hand. Return X target non-land permanents to their owner's hand. So it's basically discard your hand, return as much as you can, attack, draw, and gain all that back. It is a sorcery, so you have to do it before your turn because that'd be awesome if it was an instant. You just draw up and then just I don't know. It'd be sweet. Restore the peace. Return each creature that dealt damage this turn to its owner's hand. So if somebody attacks somebody else and you know you want to do some damage next turn, you just return all their creatures to their hand, whatever blocked, whatever dealt damage. Um, it'll be great. Eighth Rise. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. Yep. Snap back. Exile a blue card from hand. Return target creature to its owner's hand for free. And then Waterfront Banner, which is a spell shaper. Blue, discard a card, return target creature to its owner's hand. So I like all of these cards. Did I get rid of Commandeer? I did. That was the only one that was questionable there, but I'm gonna have to reduce enough. Snapback might be. I love Eighth Rise and Restore the Peace in here. Turbulent Dreams, yes. All of the returning I am very happy with. Subtlety is something that I'm happy with as well. Endurance didn't make it into the deck. Like shuffling graveyards isn't something that I really care about. Misdirection, yes. Force of will, force of negation, diplomatic escort. I like all these. Saw it coming. Maybe that's something that could go. Um, or should I think about basically all of the counter spells just because that is like the direct counter spells. Like misdirection is something that can be fun. Change the target of target spell. So it's not necessarily countering a spell. Um, so maybe we cut the counter spells right off the bat. Fierce Guardianship, saw it coming, force of will, force of negation. Uh, yeah, having a bunch of foretells, I think that'll be fun. I have, there'll be a handful, not a ton, but a handful. But having a foretell deck, I think this could be one of them. I'm gonna get rid of the counter spells. Um, I can always add them back in, but they just feel so bad, and I don't need them. I don't think. I think there's enough interesting things, and I want to focus on the spell shapers as well. So I like that. I can keep all that. Yeah, I'm happy there. It's a lot of removal though, but it's not. It's kind of the part of the deck that's happening. So, getting into protections, we have Boromir, Warden of the Tower. We have Selfless Spirit and Flawless Maneuver. These are kind of like giving the crew indestructible, not having to keep it into my hand for the most part, other than flawless maneuver, but having it on board. They kind of see it, which is fine, but also um, it's not in my hand, and so I'm just moving the game forward. I think I'll probably get rid of Boromir here at 3 mana. Keep Selfless Spirit out, Flawless Maneuver, just since it's free. I'm down with that. Take a little drinky. All right. We have some fog effects. Dawn Strider, Spell Shaper, green, discard a card, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. So not a bad deal there. It feels like it's like a fairy or something that has flying for me. I don't it doesn't though. So yay. And then Moment's Peace. 2 mana, fog, or flashback, 3 mana, fog. I've had this card wreck me sometimes when I forget that opponents have it in the graveyard, but it's something that can be discarded quite easily and then flashback at the appropriate time. Um, and just in time, just came today in the mail from Card Sphere, but Reverent Mantra. You may exile a white card from your hand and play this for free, but all creatures gain protection from the color you choose until end of turn. It should be awesome. Should be perfect. This one just shot up in the last couple months. It's up to like $7, $8 right now, back from Mercadian Masks. There we go. March of Swirling Mist, X and a blue, and you can exile a blue card from your hand to add 2 mana to this, and then up to X target creatures phase out. Not a bad deal to protect your stuff or get rid of opponent's blockers. Um, this is potentially on the chopping block just because. Mm, just having the thought I should cut it. Adam likes this card a lot more and he uses it. It always works. Always saves his buns. Um, but for me it's always a little bit of a struggle. Which one? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mists are always kind of fun. Oh, swirling mist. I was thinking. All right. Since you're liking it, I'll keep search the swirling mists in for now. Giver of Ruins and Mother of Ruins. Tapping another target creature you control gains protection from the colorless or color of your choice until the end of turn, and then target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So basically, giving Foxglove protection from whatever I think I need it to be able to get through and not worry about the damage. Or if it's blocked, I can just choose that color, stuff like that. So, and again, cheap, second favorite art that's ever been printed. I love this one. And I love Mystic Remora. So, which might not be a bad ad in here, but over the Esper Sentinel, but I'm not going to be worried about it. Prismatic Strands has the flashback, tap an untapped white creature you control. And then, so for free, prevent all damage that a sorcerer color of your choice would deal this turn. So that mantra card, very similar to what's going on. Just nice protection going on. We have Canine Mark 1, as long as it's untapped, other legendary creatures you control have Ward 1, but you can pay to tap it. Target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn. So it's protection in both aspects because Foxglove has to be a bit aggressive. Also very cheap. So let's see here. Frego. Uh, I'm on March's Swirling Miss and Galadriel's Dismissal and all my decks that can run them. Yeah, I totally get that. I have Galadriel's Dismissal. I mean, like, I'm not gonna put it in here, but I have that in my Feather deck, and it's fantastic because I can just kinda repeat it, whenever as a 1 drop, and then whenever I gotta save my ass or get through, we just do that, yeah. But having that ability to save your stuff or remove their stuff, that's such great flexibility for sure. Um, what do you think about Disorder in the Court, which is kind of a similar aspect of it as well, but creates clue tokens and stuff like that? Cosmic Intervention, this is another foretell, but if permanents you control would be put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, exile it instead, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it's probably I'd rather take this over like Boromir because it's 2 right away, can just get rid of stuff in my hand. And I like it there at that aspect. We have Lava Spur Boots, we got Swiftfoot Boots, and we have Greaves. Just I think it's going to be really important to get Mr. Foxglove Haste. So we'll have all 3 of them in there. That'll be the first deck for me. We have Wonder. So if it's in your graveyard and you have an island, all your creatures gain flying. A nice little discard outlet or discardable card, but also it gives evasion. Reconnaissance, also a great card, allows you to be really aggressive with your decks. Just reprinted in the Assassin's Creed, and the foil was like 250. I picked up way too many of them. And but you can pay 0, remove target attacking creature you control from the combat and untap it. If you activate during the end of combat, this creature will untap after it deals combat damage. So I'm glad that they put that on there because that's the confusing part. So you can go in, deal combat damage to a player or anybody, and then untap it essentially. Um, it, if you deal the damage to a creature and you're trading combat, it's not going to save it in that regard. But um, if somebody blocks it, you can just take it away from combat, and if you deal your damage, you deal your damage, and then you can untap it out. So it's essentially like Vigilance. It's such a crazy good card. Key to the City, 2 mana artifact. Tap it, discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn, and when it untaps, you can pay 2 to draw a card. I don't care about that in this deck. Just being able to discard a card and up to 1 creature can't be blocked this turn. Um, that's going to be great in here. You have Cloud Seeder. This is another aspect, I'm gonna have to really look at hard, which is like a little bit of a token aspect of it, but, there's a Spell Shaper, and it creates a 1/1 fairy with flying that can't block creatures without flying. So, uh, usually playing token lists, so Disorder in the Court, would hurt me a bit. Yeah, okay, I get that. Recon is a staple in Isshin, which was the attack triggers. Yeah. Yep, for sure, Jeff. Reconnaissance is great in Isshin. It's crazy good in Isshin. But really any deck that wants to be really aggressive should be playing Reconnaissance. Anything that's like Dolmen Gate or the red white god from Theros, like those cards just really want you to be aggressive, and Reconnaissance is just the cheapest version of it. So it's right in there. But Cloud Seeder making a flying token allows me to be a little bit of aggressive. Pegasus Refuge, paying 2, discard a card, create a 1/1 flying creature. I think we're gonna get rid of them now that looking at it a little bit. Spirit Cairn. Whenever a player discards a card, I can pay a white to get a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Um, so I just got rid of those. I'm gonna bring back the Cloud Seeder, but I'm gonna get rid of that Pegasus thing. I mean, Cloud Seeder being 2 mana is not bad. Spirit Cairn at 3 mana is waiting. Is that just let's see here. 2 mana to discard a card whenever I want to get a 1/1 flying Pegasus for 4 mana enchantment, or I have to wait until things are discarded to pay a 1 to get a spirit. Um, and then going back there, like I like Chivalric Alliance. I like that one quite a bit. If this was a cheaper to come out, that 4 mana is kind of rough. This is just Cloud Seeder's in. That's gonna happen. I think Pegasus and Spirit Karn can both go. Questionable? That's questionable. Scroll of Fate, I thought that was pretty cool. Artifact, tap it, manifest a card from your hand. So basically, just put a card from your hand into play as a 2/2. Yeah, if it's a creature, it can go face up, but it's just getting a creature on board, a card out of hand, and then you know they wonder what it is. Quasi duplicate has that jumpstart, so you can discard a card. So it's very discardable card. Creates tokens of your spell shapers or any big creature that you've cheated into play. Works pretty nice. Here's a cool aspect. I'll talk about these three cards. Um, all right, so Strionic Resonator is essentially what we'll go off of. Copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets. So this is an attack trigger. You can copy it, right? And you draw up to your opponent's hand. And then the second trigger goes off. And if you still have the equal amount of cards in hand and you're not going to draw anything, you can put a creature into play from your hand. Um, and so it's draw, put a card in the hand. But if you draw and cast something before that trigger happens, like an instant or a counter spell or a removal spell, you can draw again as well. So both of those things are very desirable. So copying the trigger seems very powerful. I really like Strionic Resonator in that regard. We have Adric Mathematical Genius that pay 3, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. Choose 2 new targets for the copy. I like both of that. And then not necessarily the 5 mana part of the virtue, but Vantress Vision is 2 mana instant copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So just getting one of those in there would be is seems really interesting to me. Got the last cards I needed today for my random commander squirrel deck. Excited for that. Oh, what does that even mean? So do you have like a bunch of squirrel commanders and then it'll just be whatever kind of happens and then you shuffle the rest in? I'm guessing that's what it is. Um So doubling the trigger seems really good to me. Then we have some untappers, haste enablers, but Thousand Year Elixir gives all the spell shapers, all the mana dorks, haste and the ability to untap. We have Trickster Mage, which is a spell shaper, tap or untap, target artifact, creature, or land. We have Mind Over Matter, which is going to be great, but 6 mana there, enchantment, choose and discard a card, tap or untap, target artifact, creature, or land. Um, Quest for renewal. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, put a quest counter on it. If there are 4 or more, you get to untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. We have Drum Bellower, which is untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. And then we have Seedborn Muse, untap all your stuff during their untap step. Rings of Bright Hearth, which is whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 2. If you copy this ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. So lots of spell shapers in here to copy the abilities on. And then the cool reanimation package, Pulse Mage Advocate, 3 mana, 1/3 cleric. Tap, return 3 target cards in an opponent's graveyard to his or her hand. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That seems pretty fun to me as well. So that's the deck right there. Let's see how many we cut in that first go through. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I believe that brings us down to 90 cards to work with right now. Um, so we want to cut about 25 more at this point. I'm gonna get some water. 5 potential commanders: Chatterfang, Hazel, Kamlela, Yegra, and the odd Acorn Gang. Opponents can choose who they want to play or pick at random. Oh, I like that aspect. I was just thinking random, but just allowing the opponents to pick what they want sounds like a good idea. I'm gonna go in CMC order there. Just see where we're at on the curve. See what we have working with. I got a chord a little low today, but that's 2, 2, 3, 3. Twosies, onesies. That's free. There's gonna be a lot of free ones there too. I don't know what to do with the Vortel cards. Probably just go with the CMC of what they are? Question mark. That's probably what'll happen. That's a free spell. X. Dun 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 dun. Oh, that's a good question. I got a lot of fucking free spells. All right, let's reorganize this a bit. 4s will go down there. And then we have discard, like free spells that we would reorganize this shit. That is a free spell. Let's get that over there too. Let's see if we can make a little bit of room. There we go. Free spell. That's probably a 3, 2, free spell, 2, void winnower, 3, foretell. It's probably 3. It's free. I haven't played with so many free spells. It's pretty ridiculous. 1, 3, 3, 2. That's a 7. This we can put less. That's definitely would always be a 3. That's a 5, 2, 3, 4. Free. That's going to be a 2, 1, and a 1, and a 1. That's probably always going to be a 2. Roaming Throne in this deck. That's Roaming Throne. I'm assuming that you want to pick Rogue, like for the double trigger. That could be an all right idea too. I hadn't thought about that like I did. Or are we talking about that artifact? Whatever that one was called. I cut the artifact, not the creature version. Roaming Throne. Oh, that's Roaming Throne. Yeah, I see it now. I don't have it in here. That's probably something to try and remember to add in. Thank you for that. 2s. Freeze. That is a 3. We can call that a 2. 6er. High. Free. I should probably be thinking about putting the 0 casting in with the 1s, but that's fine. 2s. 4. And that's legitimate 5. All right. Yeah, Roaming Throne being there because I don't have many rogues. It's mostly spell shapers. But being able to have it double up on that probably be a nice way. Just slam down Roaming Throne, cut the other 2, get rid of the Vantress, keep Strionic. It's probably an idea. Let's aim for that. See if I can find it real quick. Just running through the proxies. There you are. All right. 5. We know to cut the other 2. Won't consistently have. Oh, that's not thrown. What am I doing? I don't know why my brain just thought that was going to work. How did that get in there? All right, let's see if we can even find it. I don't know if I have some extras. Roaming Thrones is so cool. All right, Roaming Thrones. There we go. We do play with proxies. Anybody that doesn't listen to the podcast or whatever. So we do play with proxies. Adam makes them up, and then we kind of make them, print them out. We do give them out to patrons that want to join our Patreon. We do have a Discord for people that want to join the Patreon. $1 just to join. I should plug that in. Remember to give us this video a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's go from the top. Let's see here. Nasal Hall, Kozilek, Cyclonic Rift, Void Winnower, and March of Swirling Mist. I like all of those at the top end, especially with that cheating aspect into play. I do. Ooh, I don't. I think I want to lean on Kozilek and be able to draw the cards, but I don't know if it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I like that right there. Oh, just these two, Mind Over Matter and Dream Trawler for sure. I'm happy with both of those as well. Perennial Behemoth. Um, Alexi is going to be great. Seedborn Muse is always bonkers. Perennial Behemoth. Is that something that I want? A 2/7 for 5. Not amazing, but just that discard ability is really nice. I don't, and then a little bit from the yard, a little bit. So I like that. I'm not cutting anything at that aspect. Um, as Jeff was saying, I'll keep roaming throne in here for a bit, but 4 mana ward 2 enters the battlefield. Choose a creature type. Whenever a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers. Yeah, I mean that's nice. Just being able to drop a Foxglove, attack, double trigger each turn. That seems good. That seems really good. Conduit of Worlds. Um, I like that aspect right now too. I don't know how much I like it, but I like it. Aetherize seems good. Cosmic Intervention, probably very similar to the idea of indestructible. So I should look at that in the protection package. Conduit of Worlds is better than Behemoth. Yeah, yep. I agree. The question ends up being how much Fragu, how much I want in the deck for that when it comes to like having lands coming back. Because really the question ends up being like how many lands am I actually going to just be discarding, or how many of I am I playing? Because I have 3 effects that are going to allow me to put more lands into play than I normally have, and so um I'll probably have to decide what that balance is. And I don't know what that is right now. I think I still like Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but I think I'm gonna cut Cultivate and Reach, um, just for the aspect that they're putting stuff into my hand. I don't really want that, so we can cut those 2. Augurs in, Euro's nice, being able to just cast it from the graveyard. We have Windfall, yes. Echo of Eons makes sense to me. So like 1, 2, 3 with Kozilek. Restore to Peace works. Spectral Deluge. Some of these would be really nice as well. So like Cyclonic Rift on somebody, end of turn, and then Windfall. That feels good. That feels good. But Spectral Deluge, same idea. I'm going to try and keep in the Stronghold Biologist and Mechanist as much as possible. Devout Witness makes a ton of sense to me. Green Slime, I like that a lot as well. Yeah, Aura of Silence. Okay, so the question is Moment's Peace. I like that as a fog effect that I can discard. Let's keep that around. Scroll of Fate, though, I think we could probably cut that. It's just one of those. I'm not going to have a lot to work with. I think it's okay to get rid of that. I'd probably rather have that Pegasus one that allows me to have, um, the flying. Let's see here, quasi duplicate. I could probably add in clone effects later on. Let's cut that at this point too. It seems like something that could be a lot of fun to be able to get, um, like a second dream trawler or something going. But at this point, clone effects are something that kind of can come in when you want more of an effect, and this is just a little bit more loose, and so I'm not going to be worried about it. 1,000 Year Elixir, I think, is a that's in. That's going to be in with all those. Drum Bellower, I think I can cut now that I'm thinking about it. Like Seedborn Muse, yes, has to be in there because it untaps the lands, and all these spell shapers need land, more mana. They're very hungry. And Drum Bellower does not do that for you. So I'll get rid of that. Rings of Bright Hearth still probably stays in. I like the idea of not having to necessarily discard and still get more of an effect. So like double up on returning a creature. That seems cool. I don't have to, destroying another artifact or enchantment. So everything before the colon, you don't have to do, that's the nice thing. Um, and so there's definitely some things that I really like. Hmm. We'll just see how many actually work with it. All right. But yeah, thinking about it a little bit more, I do agree. Conduit of Worlds is better than Behemoth. Um, yeah. Dreamscape Artist, I like it. I like the basic land into plate tapped. I like Fanatic here. I like Tales of the Ancestors. So there's this, Windfall, Eons, Kozilek. So there's four that can kind of catch you up without the Foxglove. We have Library. That's nice and cheap. Jace Reawakened. Yeah. Alliance, Keeper of the Mind. I like this card. I don't think a lot of people know about that one. So I want to play with that one. Waker of the Waves makes a ton of sense to me. Deep Analysis. Yeah. I don't. Waterfront Bouncer. Turbulent Dreams. This is the dream. That's just return a ton of stuff. Diplomatic Escort. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Avenger and Doll, I think it's just too expensive. Like that aspect of leaving 3 open. It might not be that bad because I got a lot of free spells. Um, but I just think that's gonna be brutal. Remove target attacking creature. I think it's just gonna set people up to not want to attack, and I don't want that. So, Selfless Spirit, yeah, we like that. Dawn Strider for the fogs. Yep. We got the Greaves Boots and boot. Nope. Key to the City makes a ton of sense to me. Cloud Cedar at this point, I'm fine with. We like Strionic Resonator. Let's take a look at this Adric Mathematical Genius. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy, or you can pay to sacrifice it. Counter target activated or triggered ability. I don't hate that. I don't hate it. Um, but 3 mana is quite a bit. Strionic Resonator at 2 without a color, that feels better, I think. Um, cut. I think we'll cut this as well. Just an instant that's doing its thing. Like, yeah. I think we can cut Quest for new renewal like we did with the drum bellower as well. Let's cut those. Um, all right, doing some decent work there. Let's see. All right, at the one spot, I still like currency converter, but I'm gonna have to see how many spell shapers I have in there in the discard effect. Land of War, Mentor makes a ton of sense. We need some reliable ramp. I like all that. Soul Ring, Wizard class. I do like that aspect. Like that, the +1/+1 counters are going to be pretty good if I ever get there. That is a question. So drawing two is a legitimate thing that I've done in a game. I don't care about no maximum hand size, but drawing the two and getting there seems good. But also, that's a lot of investment. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana into this card. I don't know if that's worth it. Let's cut that bad boy. Top Sentinel, Spurn Mage Advocate. I like that better than the Endall. I don't know why. Other than 3 mana, all that kind of stuff. So Giver of Ruins, Mother of Ruins, Canine, Lava Boots, Reconnaissance, and Trickster Mage. I like all that. And getting to the free spells. Mox Opal's good. I think there's something like 20 plus artifacts in there right now. Jeweled Lotus. Am I still cool with it? Let's cut that for now. We can get rid of that. Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, Paradise Mantle, Bowable. Snapback might not be powerful enough, but I do really like the idea of having a bunch of bounce spells in here. Misdirection makes sense. Subtlety, Solitude, Force of Vigor, Abolish, Flawless Maneuver, Mantra. Do I care about Wonder? And Prismatic Strands make a ton of sense too. All right. Do I care about Wonder? I guess that is a legitimate question, right? Still got a stack there. Mhm. Yeah, flying seems pretty good. Let's see here. I'm not sure where I cut. 7, 8. 25. 25 down? Okay. Um, let's put it into card types. See where we're at. All right. Creatures. Instant. Should be plenty of instants in here. Bring that down a little bit. And normally I just go after the creatures, honestly. That generally tends to be my biggest stack of cards. It's just the creatures, and then everything else is whatever. That Cloud Seeder seems pretty sus in the deck at this point. I think I might need to find a couple of big boys that work within the idea of what's going on. And then they just become my beaters to get there, to get over the top a little bit. And maybe it's something like Dream Trawler type cards where like I care about drawing something like a Chasm Skulker. That could be nice in here. Um so thinking about that type, that probably works nicely. I won't do that on camera. That'll be something that you can check the Mox Field. Oh, if you want to go to our Mox Field page, Commander Smiths, you should be able to find the list that I've been working with as well. And so you can kind of see what's happening. Check that out. It's way late in that process though. Sorry. Um Sorceries. bit of water. Using a Commander Smith mug so I don't spill all over my fucking cards again. That was brutal. Still makes me cry to this day. All right. Let's kind of relook at Jace Reawakened. All right. Can't cast the spell on the first, second, or third time or turns of the game, which is probably not problematic for me. Draw a card, then discard a card, or +1. You may exile a card with mana value 3 or less as plotted, or -6 until on a turn. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. Let's look at the sorceries a bit. All right, we have Deep Analysis, Turbulent Dreams. We don't have a lot of sorceries, which is fine. Do I like the idea of Deep Analysis there? Um, Might depend on how many spell shapers we have. Let's check that out first. I don't need to see everything, but I need to know how often am I going to be able to discard cards. That's later. I'm not even going to count that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 discard outlets to a degree. That seems like that's going to happen pretty frequently. And then along with Windfall, um, I'm okay with it. So Deep Analysis is fine at this point. Turbulent Dreams, Tales of the Ancestors, Windfall, Echoes of Eons, and Spectral. I like these aspects to be able to just catch back up. Because, like the other thing, Turbulent Dreams, discard everything but one of these three, or even Echo of Eons likes that discard aspect. Yeah, I like all of this. Okay, dope. Let's check out enchantments. Yeah, that allows me to be aggressive, lands out of hand. Chivalric Alliance is big. Like Mind Over Matter or of Silence makes a ton of sense. And just that's an early game cantrippy. I don't think I'm gonna be drawing a ton of cards with library. It's much more of a make sure you're getting what you need, like a land or a removal spell or whatever you need it to be. So maybe Miri's Guile would be a good card to choose too, along with it. Just being able to be like, I need that blue card or that white card for Solitude to go off. Um, Instance. All right. Still like Moments Peace. Fog effects are what they are. Maybe it's worth cutting this. I have the two. I have the Dawn Strider. Is that what it is? I can prevent the combat damage for Foxglove as well. That's kind of nice. Restore the Peace. Aetherize. Cosmic Intervention. All right. So I have Mantra. I have like 2 mass protection from everything. I have 2 mass indestructible from everything. And then this is bring everything back if I have mana open. Um, Me personally, I'm pretty sloppy with my mana. So like I don't not sloppy, but I don't leave it open. I just kind of like so that could be a problem in that regard. Just my personal play style. But I think getting it out of my hand and still having it open. So what I should probably do is make a decision between Selfless Spirit and Flawless Maneuver. And it's probably Flawless Maneuver. Probably cut Flawless Maneuver then. That should be in here. All right. We'll cut that. Like I said, I like Mantra. I like Strands. They're both masked everything protection. Doesn't help from a wrath, but this does and the other does. So I like cosmic intervention, March of Swirling Mist. This is the phasing one. I think I'm gonna cut it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna cut Swirling Mist because I'm not gonna be able to discard a ton of cards to it. Like maybe one, maybe two, because this is a three-color deck. Maybe not, but also, um, I think that's what's gonna happen. The Cyclonic Rift probably stays because I'm a dickhead. Probably. Snap that back. I like it. Misdirection. Still like it. Force of Vigor. Still like it. Abolish. Like it. We have. All right. Artifacts. We like boots. Top. Resonators still seems pretty solid in here. Key to the City is still nice. Lightning Greaves, boots, ring, converter. We have Windfall and like we said, 11 spell shapers plus a third with Alexi. So it's not always consistent. This does have the draw a card, discard a card. I do like that aspect. I do have a lot of discards. Okay. We can keep that. I got Jace. I have Turbulent Dreams. I have Windfall. Like we're starting to get into 15 plus discarding. Let's leave that off to the side just to make sure we can go through and count after this. Rings of Bright Hearth at the end. I do like that. Like fetches, you can double up on that. Um yeah. Bright Hearth can still stick around at this point. 1,000 Year Elixir is absolutely in. Conduit of Worlds. Yeah, like Baubles. I like that. That's easy. Paradise Mantle is probably fine. I like 1, 2, 3 at this point as well. We could probably check on how many artifacts we actually have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20. So we have 20 artifacts at this point. Questionable. Yeah, we can cut Mox Opal at this point. All right. Discard outlets were for currency converter. Let's see here. One. Mm, let's see here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. That doesn't really count. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right. 19's plenty. Plenty for that. All right, let's go through and look at those creatures again. All right. I'm fine with green slime. I don't know if I love it here at the end. Like I'll want to see how many artifact and enchantment removals I have and compare it. Compare and contrast. Well, let's get rid of it. We can get rid of it. A lot of the Fortell cards are kind of dying off. There are some that are just going to stay. I like them, but Kozilek makes a ton of sense. Nazahal, Void Winnower. perennial behemoth. Um, I like being able to play lands. 2/7, not a bad deal. Seaborn Muse makes a ton of sense. Alexi, Dream Trawler, Roaming Throne, Augur of Autumn, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Euro. Whenever ETBs or attacks, gain 3 life and draw a card. And then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Escape is 2 green, 2 blue. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. That's fine. So okay, so you can't. So that has to escape to stay in play as well. So that's right. I like the Witness and the Spell Shapers. Pride Mage or Pulse Mage Advocate makes a ton of sense. I like some of what's going on. Silverglade Pathfinder, Keeper of the Mind. I still like that. Waker of the Waves. Waterfront Bouncer. Yeah. All right. Escort. Cloud Seeder is still questionable. I think we can cut that one at this point. I think it's just making little things that can't even really block well. So Noble Hierarch, Birds, Llanowar Mentor. Two target cards, an opponent's graveyard to his or her hand, destroy target attacking creature. Again, is that going to stop people from attacking? Not really interested in having a slow game. I don't know if that's going to slow the game down. Um, we can keep that around for now. Sentinel makes sense. Mother of Runes, Giver of Runes. I still like those cards. Protecting Foxglove, potentially giving unblockability, being able to untap. K9 Mark, that unblockable part is really nice. With that, Trickster Mage, yeah, Subtlety, Solitude, and Wonder. All right. Let's see where we're at. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, 22, 30, 31, 36. Keep that there. 50. That's 63. 77. All right. Kind of want to be able to cut like 10 more. What I'm going to end up doing right now is just I'll put them in areas of use. We'll try and make our cuts there, and we'll probably call it a night. So thanks everybody for sticking around, hanging out, giving suggestions. Really appreciate it. Um, Stuff like that. So, all right. Draw, removal. It's kind of tappity tap tap. Draw. That actually is going to be over there a bit. Let's see here. Drawing. That is bounce. Draw, 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 bounce. Draw discard. Draw. This is. I don't remember. I think this is just combat. Removal. Let's see here. That's protection. Protection, right? Bounce, bounce. That is protection. Giving protection. That is some bounce. It's always a treasure. 2, 3, a little bit of cantrips. That's for land. This is tap untap aspect. There we go. Doubling up on abilities. That's just kind of random thing. Bop. Combat. Doubling up. There we go. Flying for combat. Removal. Removal. Untap. That's just legendary creatures. Protections. We'll call that a draw. That is removal. Mana, mana. So now got rid of a lot of the counter spells. So I had like 3 sets of removal. And they're still pretty good, but it's better if I don't have that there. Bounce. That's 2 mana. That's a draw. Mana. Mana. Be aggressive. Draw. Mana. We can put that in the mana category just for shits and giggles. That's for drawing, returning, untapping, mana. That can be removal, draw, and draw. All right, let's take a look at our mana right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17. That's right in that range. I'm happy with that. I won't touch anything in the mana at this point until I start playing around with it. Draw is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Again, fine. They're both together a little high, but I'm not going to mess around with that aspect. We have some combat protection. We got Wonder, Key to the City, Greaves, Boots, and Boots. I'm happy with the Boots. Like I said, I want Strands and Mantra and Reconnaissance and Key to the City. Maybe we do get rid of Wonder. We can cut that. I think that's something we can get rid of. Hopefully the big guys are just big enough. Aspect right there. All right, so this is the other aspect of protection, which is all right. Bippity boppity boop. All right, so a fog, indestructible, individual protections, fog, kind of individual protections. So like I think we do get rid of Moment's Peace. Be happy with Dawn Strider. If Dawn Strider didn't exist, I'd probably play Moment's Peace. But in this way, I'll probably be fine with that. So those 3. And then I like Misdirection for sure. I like it's been a long time since I played the Mother of Ruins, which is something that I do want to do. Is Canine worth the spot or the slot? Maybe not. Let's cut Canine. We just got a couple of good things here going. I'm happy with that. Let's see here. Let's look at our untappers. I'm happy with Seedborn. It's the Spell Shaper, 1,000 Year, and Mind Over Matter. Yeah. Made those nice and efficient, just those 4 instead of like 6 or 7. Like these all make sense to me. Doubling up effects, Roaming Throne. Yeah, I like that. The Pulse Mage is a reanimation aspect. Trionic Resonator, and Rings to Bright Hearth. I could probably go through and see which are relevant. Maybe we can do that once we're done. So look at Rings of Bright Hearth. But I like. We'll keep all that. Although, yeah, Strionic is just a different version of Rings of Bright Hearth, works with the commander, but otherwise not a lot of other triggers. Maybe a Seedborn Muse trigger would be crazy good. Yeah. Strionic's there for essentially the Foxglove up to 7. Well, you could, yeah. There's a trigger here or there that I wouldn't be mad about copying. So okay, and go through. Let's look at our bounce. Alexi, waterfront bouncer. So that's multiple creatures, just a one-off. This is kind of like a combat one. That's a one of. This is multiple, multiple, multiple. Should I get rid of Rift? I think so. I think I have enough, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big time bouncers. This is non-land permanents. Get rid of that, I think. Creature, creature, creatures, non-land. This is creature, and then creature. So but we have plenty of destroy target artifact and enchantment, I think. But there's plenty of bounce here that I think Cyclonic Rift isn't needed. So and then the other aspect of removal, let's check out artifact and enchantment. Those are just countering spells. Happy with that. That's just a random kind of one-off. Let's see here. I like Void Winnower in here at this point. So artifact and enchantment, artifact or enchantment. Just looking at the hate that I got going on here. Discard a card from your hand, counter target spell or ability that targets a creature, any creature. So auras, that could be nice. That's kind of weird. All right. Choose up to one target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on top or bottom of the deck. So that's creature. Let's just, I like these. 1, 2, 3, 4 for artifacts and enchantments, plus the turbulent dreams. So that's 5 cards that can deal with like non-creature aspects. It's probably not a ton, but that's a non-creature spell as well. But that's a counter spell. Sometimes just be happy with it. I'm happy with these at this point. All right, let's Rings of Bright Hearth. Let's look at activated abilities that I want to double up on. Ooh, I wouldn't want to double that. That's one. I guess these ETBs are triggers, so that could be nice with Strionic. Counter spells don't really work with copying. That's an activated ability I can copy. Dig that. Let's see here. Activated abilities. Double up on that. Okay. All right. So the one thing that I have a little bit of a problem with is the Spurge Mage Advocate and this Advocate. The colon is right after the tap. So if I were to copy it, it'd be returning the cards and having the effect happen twice. And so it's not part of the cost is not returning the cards to your opponent's hand. And that's not the best thing to copy up. I don't want to do a ton of it, but I mean, it is what it is as well. Um, that could be interesting. Double, that stuff doesn't really matter. Giving 2 creatures unblockable. Yeah. That's a trigger. That's probably not something that's going to be easily copyable. That ain't bad. I can copy those abilities. Planeswalkers are dope. What else is there? Lamp? Because those mana abilities don't really work with it. You can only activate that as a sorcery. Non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that. So even doubling it ain't gonna work too much there. Bloppity blop. That's not a bad one to copy. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17. That's worth keeping it in for a bit. So don't hate that. All right, I don't remember what we're at, 77, I want to say. Let's see what we cut at this point. 2, 3, 4. So we should be down to 73. We got about 10 more cuts. I think that's going to be it for the night. Appreciate everybody coming out. Subscribe to the Commander Smiths. That'd be greatly appreciated. We'll see you around. Have a good night. Bye.